Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm out at the cabin today. It's a Saturday, it's towards the end of June. The bugs are kind of bad. We've had a lot of rain again. It's just been unreal this year. So I actually haven't got a chance to start on my other summer projects that I wanted to start on out here. So I decided today I'd come out and do some catch-up cleanup and patching. The chimney, I've never tore it apart since I put it in. I installed it about 1.5 years ago, and I wanted to see, you know, what was actually collecting in that elbow. As you remember, the wood stove's inside, of course. It goes through the wall with a pipe, and then an elbow going straight up. I've had a lot of good comments, a lot of good suggestions, and I just wanted to see how much stuff had collected in that elbow. And turned out not much. I was really surprised, and it seems to draft pretty well. If I put one more piece, made it like one more piece taller, so it would be just above the roof line instead of equal with the roof line, you know, it'd be about 3 feet above the roof then. I probably would get better draft when the wood stove itself was cold and when I'm first starting, because sometimes it, you know, it can be a little touchy, but once you get a little bit warm, it starts drafting really well. It takes care of itself. And surprisingly, there's a built-in damper in that wood stove, and it must stop most of the ash from escaping. So I'm happy about that. So I did that today, cleaned all the windows. All my windows in the cabin, if you watch my previous videos, are salvage windows. I had them donated by a friend of mine. They're excellent windows, you know, and cleaned up. They look really good. Out here, it's a surprising, you know, clean air, whatever, wilderness, and somehow the outsides get, you know, really scuzzy. So obviously there's particulate in the air or whatever. And in the winter, I know it gets pretty windy on this ridge. So, especially on the west side, I would think, west and north side. So anyway, I cleaned them up. They were surprisingly dirty. I did do the insides as well. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to finish chinking. Now, chinking, of course, is filling in the gaps. In the old days, they used mud and straw. Nowadays, modern homes, they use stuff they call perma-chink, which is a synthetic material. It goes between the logs, it goes into all your cracks. It's just, you know, it's like it looks kind of like mortar. Well, I opted myself for mortar. I thought I would try it, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It actually works better than I expected it. So you usually don't have that. Of course, mortar is a heck of a lot cheaper than perma-chink, synthetic chinking material. So then there's no comparison. I mean, I chinked the whole cabin for $100, you know. And if I had bought perma-chink, it probably would have been, I don't know if it would have been $1,000, but it would have been $500 easily. And like I said, I know the perma-chink probably works. Well, actually, I know it works better. But this is not a permanent home. This is a weekend cabin, hunting cabin, trapper cabin, whatever you want to call it. And so for me, you know, it becomes a cost issue. It's like, is it worth having the perma-chink? You know, and honestly, this is my second winter. And the first winter I've had the entire thing chinked, except for the baseboards, which I finished today. Because I found, you know, those were all foamed in. Underneath the baseboards along the walls, I foamed it in, but I did notice there was no snow blowing in, but I did notice a draft along the edge. So that's kind of why I decided to chink it also. So I chinked them in, and we'll see if that helps with the draft. So, but this is like the second year I've had this chinked with concrete. And honestly, I have no cracks. I've had a few little pieces I had to pull out and put back in fresh material. I mean, not even a bucket full. So, I mean, or not even like the bottom of a pail. I mean, it was literally a coffee can full of material that I had to replace. So I'm really happy about it. So everybody who's commented and asking how the concrete works, if your cabin's foundation is solid and the cabin doesn't move, it works. Now, if the cabin would shift and that, I'm sure you get a lot of cracking, and that's where the advantage is with the perma-chink. It has a tendency to stretch, and the logs can move a little bit, and you can't tell the difference. It all sticks. So the only other thing I want to do is I have to seal the logs, and I'll probably get at that this summer yet, hopefully, the way things are going. But there's a spider. It's the woods. And these hemlocks are full of spiders, so you just get used to it. But anyway, I want to take log seal, and I'll seal up the logs, and then it'll pretty much be, you know, closed in, and we'll see how this winter goes. I'm hoping to do some overnighters out here in the winter. Like right now, at night, I really miss my air conditioning, so I wouldn't want to stay out here today. I checked on the north side of the building. It's 85, but the humidity, I think they said the dew point was 67, so that's pretty high dew point for us. We usually don't, you know, we usually aren't this wet. We had a 2-inch rainstorm just a little while ago. So, but anyway, that's enough talk, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and share. I don't have anything else right now. Other than that, have a great summer, and I hope to drop another video in a couple weeks. So until then, take care.